This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Jumbo, jumbo, and hello, everybody. A very warm welcome to our afternoon or sunset safari. We are in the Masai Mara of Kenya with a herd of elephants here. My name is David. Welcome aboard to a very own safari, live from the African bush. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we shall be coming to you live today from a number of locations in Africa. And currently, as I said earlier, I am in the Masai Mara Game Reserve of Kenya. And my name is David. And on the camera with me this afternoon is Bungay. Very happy to start with the herd of elephants because I'm sure most of you or all of you know elephants are my favorite animals. And we love to hear from you. Please talk to us. You're more than welcome to send us questions, or should you have any comments, we are going to acknowledge them. And you can do that by tweeting to us using #WorldEarth. And for the youngsters, you can do the same by sending us questions using kidsquestions at worldearth.tv. Alternatively, you can also use @FC in the comment section of the YouTube chat channels. A very warm afternoon in the Masai Mara, 28 degrees Celsius or 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I'll spend a few minutes with these elephants here, but I have a plan to go and try and locate the one calf that had a bad foot, and I'll be letting you know later.
Well, a very, very warm welcome from our side here at Tswalu Kalahari, and you can see the welcoming committee welcoming everybody as well. My name is Kyle, and behind the camera is David. Welcome to Tswalu Kalahari, the place where the red sands meets the blue sky. And very fitting and very beautiful to be up close and personal with such a large structure. Remarkable. So just for this afternoon, what we're going to be doing is going from this beautiful sociable weaver nest, and we're going to be heading out west. And we're going to be following up on that mother and 3 cheetah for this afternoon. Hopefully we can get a beautiful sighting of those magnificent creatures. Oh, Marsha, great question. How many birds would be within a nest like this? Marsha, a large nest can hold anywhere between 300 to 500 birds within a nest. And I'm talking, it's a nest, try and take this into consideration, it's a nest that is made up of grass and sticks and is weighing at over a ton sometimes. This nest over here would be holding around about 200 odd. Really, really beautiful to see on a magnificent day like this.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm sitting here admiring this hippo, wishing I was inside the water, on some level, of course. It's a very hot day here in Tswalu Game Reserve, 33 degrees Celsius and 91 degrees Fahrenheit, the hottest yet. My name is Lauren, and I do have BK on camera. Now, sadly, there's just no shade anywhere. And I imagine that all the animals we will be looking for today will be in the shade or around a waterhole. And that's exactly why we've came here. This is Tswalu Dam, the largest of all waterholes that we have access to in this area. but there's no one around other than the resident hippos, thoroughly enjoying the coolness of the water. So we're going to bumble around Chitwa and see what else we can find.
Jumbo Jumbo, another beautiful afternoon, and welcome once again to our afternoon safari. My name is Isaac, and on camera I have Big James. We set out to come and look for these girls, and already we have found them. We're very close to the Olololo gate, and we have found the Olololo females, and they are on a hunt, and this is one of them. She has initiated, to go hunting, but the other female doesn't want to follow. So she keeps stopping and looking backwards, hoping to persuade her sister to follow. They look really, really hungry, and they've been hanging around this area for the last almost 10 days. So I haven't seen them. And by the looks, we might have, some cubs coming soon, because they have very swollen mammary glands. Remember, to talk to us on hashtag World Earth. Question and comments are very, very welcome. This is coming live from the Masai Mara. Look how beautiful it is. Over here, it's quite hot, around 27 degrees Celsius, but it's still very comfortable. There's a little bit of a breeze, so we can cope. I don't know if she's going to persuade her sister to follow. Looks like they haven't eaten for about 5 days, and she's really keen to keep moving, but right now she's been held back by her sister, and that's why you see her with her ears pointed up, focused on the sister, hoping that the sister, will follow. And I am hoping the same, because this is going to be very, very exciting if they do decide to go for something. I'm gonna follow them for a little bit more as we take you to another different location.
Yes, Isaac, if you follow them, would you be very kind and tell them who I am? Because I have according to me, the second choice of what lions will choose on their menu, if, for example, they would have wildebeest and zebras. Not that I would want any, this zebra brought down, but Isaac is at one corner of the Masai Mara, and I am on the far corner. I am more in eastish direction of the Mara Triangle, and you can see the openness of where I am, and that tells you why these zebras are here. It's quite huge herd, about 10 zebras. The grass is quite green, and another, say, 2 kilometers or so is the marsh. Towards those trees you see there is the area that we call the marsh area. And as I might have told you earlier, I came to this particular spot to find out if I'll be able to locate that baby elephant calf that had an issue with her foot. But all in all, we saw the elephants. Anushka, yes, you're saying the white stripes on the zebras are so bright. Anushka, I agree with you. And also, should you have a question on these zebras, please don't be shy, ask me. And the black also looks quite radiant, if I may say so. And we have always compared the zebras here to the donkeys, because in Kenya we got 2 types of zebras. We have another species that's called a gravy zebra, and if you see those ones, they have even more brighter stripes. Now, having seen zebras that maybe the lions Isaac Have would come and try and hunt, as he was saying, I will move on and try and locate that baby elephant for you.
All right. Thank you very much, and you're welcome to Masai Mara. My name is Fred, and you're catching us live in the Mara Triangle. We've just started our afternoon drive, and we're currently heading to the southern side of the triangle, pretty quiet, but with a lot of zebras spread out in the plains. Right, it's been quite a bit of a rainy season here. As you can see, it's quite green and lush, and it's not usual to be wet in the Mara this time of the year, but there's quite a lot of changes in the weather. All right, in a few days, maybe 2 or 3 days, the big herds of zebras we're looking at are kind of heading to the Mara River, and most likely there could be they might want or intend to cross over to the other side of the Greater Mara.
Well, we are hoping and expecting that we'll be having some crossings in the coming days with all those zebra heading to the plains. Back to our lions, and looks like she is really keen for her sister to join her, but for some reason she doesn't want to continue by herself. So she has walked almost 5 steps, stopped, and now they're having a face-off or a standoff with the sister, who you're going to see right now when James does his magic. For some reason, I think either the sister is not as hungry as her. She's right there and looks like she's passed out. She's not either hungry as her, or maybe she's too heavy to continue. She doesn't want to walk very far. I still have to find out exactly what's happening. Yeah, the sister here is really trying to initiate, some hunting. They've been looking around, to find something. There is some eland, there is some zebra, but quite a distance away. Remember that lions can feed almost every day if they find something, and in bad times they can go up to 10 days without eating. I know this is really interesting, but we have other locations that we'd like to, show you. So let me take you to a different location.
Now, if I'm finding it hot today, can you imagine how these elephants are feeling? They're tucked right behind a marula tree. Oh, these ones are feeding. They don't care that it's hot. They're hungry. But the others, the rest of the herd, are hiding in the minimal amount of shade that this marula tree is offering. It's not a lot. Now, I have sweat glands. I'm probably a little bit sweaty, right? It's not very pleasant, but I'm also wearing a cap. I've also got water on the vehicle, so I can cool down whenever I can. Can also put the vehicle into shade. But elephants, they don't have all those resources. They can't sweat. They don't have sweat glands. They're not wearing caps. I don't think so. Nope, no caps. And of course they can go to water holes, but it requires walking. It requires getting to the water hole in the sun. So it's not easy being an elephant, but luckily African elephants have adapted for the hot sun. The really, really hot sun in Africa, they're adapted for it. They have these huge, magnificent ears in the shape of Africa, and they act as massive air conditioning units, which is a wonderful specialization that has evolved through natural selection. And it's not just the ears. The ears are probably the biggest factor when it comes to cooling down. They're said to give off up to 75% of the heat. So it contributes to 75% of the heat loss. So that's their main way of cooling down. But their skin is actually incredible. It looks very dry and coarse to us, like it needs a really good exfoliation. But it's wrinkly for a reason. And all of these wrinkles can actually hold in moisture, can hold in water. Oh, got some communication happening here. That's a big mama. See how much she towers above the rest, the one on the left? Yes, sorry, I got distracted there. But the skin is wrinkly because it can hold in water and even wet mud. And this assists in the overall cooling down of the body's surface area. And if the skin was completely smooth, it wouldn't be able to hold water in at all. But because it's wrinkly, it can hold up to, or it can retain up to 5 to 10 times the amount of water than it would if the surface was completely flat. And that's exactly why they're wrinkly. Even on the underside of their foot, they've got wrinkles to hold in the water in order to survive these really hot days out here. And they'll cool down. The reason they cool down by the wrinkles holding in water is through evaporative cooling. Just the exact same way when we sweat. When we sweat, we're cooling down through evaporative cooling. And when birds open their mouth, they're doing something called gular fluttering, and that's evaporative cooling. When your dog at home is panting, they're trying to cool down through evaporative cooling. And it's exactly the same mechanism through the water that is retained in their wrinkles. Oh, I am absolutely overjoyed to see elephants again.
I am in the Masai Mara, and this time I got a different herd of elephants. Now, remember sending us questions. Gives us a lot of joy. Or should you have any comments? And we'll try and answer your questions in real time. Now, why I moved to this particular herd of elephants is for a very good reason. Warren, thank you for your question. I was just talking about you asking us questions, and we will try and answer them in real time. Now, ruminants, and I'm sure, Warren, you know, elephants are not. If they would eat anything poisonous, when they regurgitate what they would have eaten earlier, I have found out that they do not rechew the poison, call it poison if it would be, for example, a venomous, either piece of dead snake or a spider or a scorpion or any plant that's not right for them, they tend to vomit it. So they do not rechew it again when they regurgitate, but they tend to spit it and then rechew the right cut. Now, I said I came to this particular herd of elephants for a very good reason, because that cow you see there and her young calf and the two on the left have adopted Jasiri. Jasiri is the baby elephant that had a bad foot, and luckily I have been able to locate her. And she's the one there on your screen. I am so joyful. She's moving much better than yesterday, feeding as usual, and I want to spend a couple of minutes with this calf that we gave a name yesterday to Jasiri.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome back to Tswalu Private Game Reserve. Here with the giraffe, of course, indeed. My name's Andrew, and on camera, that's Theo. So today's our degree is about 33 degrees 91 Fahrenheit, which is a little warmer to be out here, especially the giraffe, but they don't really care. And this is what they need. For them to drink, it's got to be daylight, which is a lot safer And of course, there is a water hole in the background, as you can see. But there looks like 3 of them here. All 3 females look like it. And there's another one right on the far end, busy browsing. So if there is a drink situation gonna take place right in a spot here, it's that they need to walk right down to the water hole and make sure it's safe for that. We'll wait around here and see how they drink.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jackal, or Mrs. Jackal. Little black jackal. As we are busy making our way west, we came across this beautiful jackal. Up and on the move. Always looks like they are late for something. Moving very quickly. It's obviously a very efficient way in which this animal would move. A constant pace, but also reserving energy as it does that. It's just going to come through the gap there, David. Got it. Come on, Jackal. Maybe you pulled a quick one on us. Sneaky like a jackal. I'm sure we'll be able to see another one here there.
Well, I don't remember having seen jackals playing in the water like this elephant. I don't remember seeing jackals behaving like these elephants here. Not even sure I've seen jackals drinking, but I'm sure they also drink water. Now, the herd of elephants we were watching earlier has gotten into some puddle here, and you can see exactly what that youngster is doing there, wallowing in that water hole that has been formed after the rains we have been having in the Masai Mara. And as she comes out of this mud, she'll have a very different color. Looking at the geology of the Masai Mara, the composition of the soil, 80-90% is the black cotton soil, and especially where we are. I mean, that part is Shivani, that's a very good question. And you're talking of elephant secretion, especially when they are stressed. Oh, yes. If you look behind their eyes, there's a small little gland that you call the temporal gland. And when they are under stress, it becomes very streamy. And for the females, once you see that, in general, they are stressed for one reason or another. When you see the same in the males, it's most likely when they are in must, in general. Otherwise, you'll always see the temporal gland being dry. But there's always some reason for them to look streamy once in a while. Now, I was saying earlier, this calf here is trying to fit in this paddle as much as the paddle is too small. And the reason they'll be doing this mainly is 2 reasons. Number one is to cool off. You remember I told you the temperatures were quite high here in the Masai Mara. Look at her. So both of them cannot fit in there. So one is just using her trunk, scooping the mud, splashing on her body, the underbelly. Hope you can just hear the one in the water splashing the water. Madeleine, that's a very good question. And you're asking if the injured calf is going to keep up or the pace of the herd. And I'll tell you 100%. Now, Madeleine, if you're watching when we started the show, I said there's one particular family that has adopted that baby. And if you're with us yesterday, we gave that baby the name Jasuri. Now, that family, it's one cow with her youngster and either two cousins or two older calves from the cow. And we'll show you, Madeleine, that baby now. And you'll see she looks very well. And every day I see her, my heart is full of joy. I get happy as time goes by. And there she is. And I can tell you, she is doing everything, almost everything, that an elephant does. She is feeding well. She is scooping water using her trunk to drink. You can see her putting her trunk up to smell. She is flapping her ears to cool down. And hopefully once we see her going those puddles of water, like the one we were seeing earlier, we shall know she is doing fine. And I'm not leaving her. I'm going to spend a few more minutes here to see what happens with this new family.
Talking of elephants splashing in the water, that's exactly what BK and I are hoping for this herd. We're hoping that they get their swagger on, get the moves like Jagger, and head all the way to the water. Elephants do really have a water walk. I'm not just joking. They have this sort of jolly, jaunty little skip that they get when they're very close to water. Water excites them. They love it. It quenches their thirst. It nourishes their skin. It feels good. They can have fun. They can splash around. So normally they walk a little bit different when they're getting closer to water. And we're not far away from Chitwa Dam. So I'm really, really hoping that slowly this gorgeous herd make their way to the water and we can watch them have a bit of a pool party. It's been a while since I've seen an elephant pool party. That's a big mama at the back there, BK. Look at her. She's huge, very swollen mammary glands. So the smallest calf is most likely hers. She's huge. Could be the matriarch. It tends to be the oldest, most knowledgeable female that is the matriarch, not necessarily the biggest. She normally is the biggest, but it's not the best thing to gauge if you're looking at the matriarch or not. You have to spend time observing a herd before you can really figure out who is who. You will see the leader and immediately you'll know she's the matriarch.
How beautiful is that, the elephants, matriarch, and all running down to that water hole. And this is all very good day, good light for everyone to arrive to the water hole, which is exactly the same right here with these giraffe. This is one of the young female, and these three of them that we got right here. And then looks actually going to try a drink, but for sure, safety is first for this animal. You got to make sure when they do that drinking, it's nothing around them that when they all bend down, it's a lot easier for them to get killed very quickly. As you can see, trying to suck water as much as she can, but she'll rise ahead again every now and then. What giraffe don't have really to bend over for 4 minutes. That's too long, and they have a problem with high blood pressure, which may cause the death of this animal. You know, there's such a massive heart they got. And that's what that heart does. It pumps a huge amount of blood right up in the head. So it works well when the giraffe is standing up, and that heart will be able to control the amount of blood that needs to reach up to the top of their head. So that's why the giraffe, when you see it go down, it take a sip, rise its head up again, make sure that so the blood cycle down again. And you believe heart of a giraffe would weigh anything about 12 kg, which is fully grown giraffe. It's such a massive heart this animal they have. It looks like she's down there drinking. And their parents, right, the green bushes also, they're still having their own feed, which what you see there, it's all green that take place, which make these animals a lot of time wander around, focus on new shoots and trees. You know, they are browsers. So they mainly feed on acacia trees, buffalo thorns trees, and these trees, the leaves, it suits their taste is very good in this tree. Now what she's switching to that small tree there, it looks like it's one of these buffalo thorn again. So I'll give another moment if the rest of them come down to drink here again, and if they're not, then we just move forward.
As you can see, we've been lucky enough to find these two male cheetah from earlier lying still in the same spot of shade that they were a little bit earlier. You can see both of them, in fact, if you look at the bellies, you can actually see that they are quite full, so that's why they haven't moved just yet. My name is Kim, and behind the camera we have Craig, and we are coming to you live from and beyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. Now you can see the one on the right is actually taking, well, it looks like he's taking this opportunity to just have a look. Yeah, he's quickly scanning through the trees there. The one on the left seems to have his eyes closed. They do take it in turns to keep an eye out for any sort of predators in the area. It's quite an amazing sort of adaptation that they've had. It's not as if they've got a signal between the two that the one is now resting, the other one has to take his turn to have a look. It's just that every so often they'll rest and then they'll pick up their heads and look around, and they do tend to time it so that at least one of them is keeping their eyes open at all times. You can see really nicely that very big belly. In fact, also if you see the rise and fall of it, how quickly that cheetah is panting. It's two reasons. The main reason is it's very, very full at the moment, and that quickened breath actually helps to digest the food. And it's also quite hot here. It's a hot sunny day. We've just had some clouds come overhead, but it's been quite a hot afternoon, hence the reason they've found this little patch of shade. And actually see, again, we're talking about how alert they are. You see that the ears are moving ever so slightly, even as it's resting. So, Rosalind, in terms of a cheetah's size, it does vary a lot. If you read the textbooks, you can see they get anywhere between 20, I've even heard of 90 kilograms. These two males, they'll probably be more around 50, 60 kilograms. They are quite, they do tend to be pretty lightweight compared to other cats. Now that adaptation is for speed. You can see, just all the parts of the cheetah are in fact very small. If you look at that head, it's very, very small compared to a lion's. Good afternoon and welcome to quite a gruesome scene here at and beyond Ngala. What you're currently looking at is an impala carcass, impala ram that is on the ground. My name is Marna, and with me behind the camera is Gert. So this is quite an interesting scene, and we were having a look at it just now, and it seems like it might have been a leopard. So there are some bite marks on the neck, but it doesn't look like it had started feeding yet. So, like I said, quite fresh, maybe from this morning. So the animal might have killed it and dragged it up here, and then something might have scared it off. So hopefully it comes back. Might be a skittish animal, one that's not used to vehicles, and that might be the reason why he kind of abandoned it. So we're not going to hang around here for too long, and hopefully he'll come and hoist it. If this carcass stays on the ground, unfortunately with all the hyenas in the area, they will come and they'll steal this. But right next to the road.
Our patience paid off. The herd came to the dam. They're a bit cautious. Why are they cautious? There are 3 hippos staring at them. PK, I'll show you in just a moment, as if to say, get out of my dam. Hippos are notoriously territorial. Just the other night, the wild dogs chased an impala into this very dam, and the hippo unbelievably took it under for no reason other than territorial aggression. It's not to eat. A hippo will not eat an impala carcass, and of course the crocs got it in the end. But these hippos are not happy with the presence of this small elephant herd. Oh, they must be thirsty, and you see they immediately splash their face with water. Warren, you're asking, do elephants get drunk if they consume a lot of marula fruits? And this is a very, very old myth, and it's been completely debunked, and let me tell you why. So, elephants don't actually eat the rotten fruit off the ground. They're very fussy. They like the fresh fruit that's just fallen and it's not started to rot. So they also eat fresh fruit directly off the tree. That's what they normally go for. But if it's still fresh on the ground, they'll eat it, but they will not eat the rotten ones. Now, the fruit doesn't actually spend enough time in the elephant's digestive system to start to ferment and produce alcohol. So even if it did eat the rotten ones, which they don't, it doesn't stay in the tummy for long enough. And lastly, even if all the elephants did eat the rotten fruit, they say that a single elephant would actually have to eat 1,400 pieces of exceptionally fermented fruit in order to get drunk. So the sort of rumour of the inebriated pachyderms has been long debunked. And it's quite a sad story, actually. Although I'm sort of rationalising it now, the story was based on a study, I think from 2006, but don't quote me on that. And it was said that they were sort of purposely intoxicated with something for different reasons as part of the study. So it's got a sad background, this rumour, but it's definitely not true. They love the fresh marula fruits, as we all do, and even if they did eat the rotten ones, it's not going to get them drunk. It's very unlikely that you're going to see drunk elephants in summer holding themselves up against the marula tree or stumbling around or passed out on quarantine. I don't think that would be fun. Patricia, you're seeing elephant pool party. I know, this is what I have been waiting for quite some time. It's a small herd, but overall they're having fun.
the amazing thing about elephants, and this is what the tracker who I worked with the other day, he was telling me, he loves them because they are always doing something. They're not like sleeping cats, which we have in front of us. At least these cheetah are actually still keeping a lookout and still panting quite a bit. It's so good to see them with full bellies. If you look at the back of that cheetah's neck, you actually see you compare that to the rest of the hair, like on the top of the head, you'll see it's just a little bit elongated there. It's showing that this cheetah is still a little bit younger. It's just a bit over 2 years old. So we actually know these two young males. There's quite a fascinating story behind them in that they were orphaned.
So sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You can imagine we are coming to you live from the African bushes, and once in a while, these things will happen. But on a positive note, see, we found for you a hyena. Now, you remember when you were with me earlier, we had a baby elephant in a pot of water trying to swim and cool herself? It's the same story here with this hyena. Well, where she is, there's no water, but it is a very cold mud, it's very wet soil where she is, and definitely she is cooling herself, especially from the belly side. This is a spotted hyena, and from where I am, I would guess she comes from a clan that we call the Olololo clan. You remember Isaac with the Olololo lioness? So not very far from there, but I'm on the other side. Sleepy? Anushka, that's a very good question, and you're wondering whether we name hyenas. Well, I would say it's rather difficult to do that, but I'm sure, Anushka, you know, hyenas are very matriarchal, and I'm sure you've been following us for a long time because we bring you wonderful experiences. Now, we have that one particular clan that we call the North Clan. It's big, huge, of about 70 plus members. So in that particular clan, we have named their leader, and their leader is called Wafos. Otherwise, it could be rather difficult to name each one of them. But unlike the baby elephant that we named Jasiru yesterday, hyenas in every clan will always pick one leader, one female, that's top, the matriarch, and give her a name. So this one's come from the Olololo, and the North Clan, being so huge, has been followed for a very long time. Research have been done on that particular clan, and that's how we ended up naming their leader the Wafos. Snoozy, and I think because it's still rather warm, the heat of the day will tend to slow some of the animals that are fed, like this hyena. Well, I earlier left my baby elephant Jasuri. I'll be swinging by to see how she's doing, as I'm also leaving this hyena and moving on.
Beautiful, isn't it? Very much interesting of how you name animals in the area. Of course, it's got to be a unique way, or it's got to be a specific way of doing it. Right here, we're sitting back in this Juma again. We're sitting with the giraffe. You know, the dam's not far away from here. And it was called in that there's a leopard close by. And, of course, we found her. She's just lying down, very relaxed. At the moment, looks like they say is Tandi, which I confirm according to what I was told. We can just double check on that. And this kind of heat, a warm day, cats we saw yesterday also how that Stulish was moving on and on and on, trying to hunt for her own food. So leopards can also still do a little bit of that movement during the day, and more especially with these females specifically. Tandy should take care of the cubs, which I haven't met them yet, but they could be somewhere around here. So, of course, this is how every time we come across a leopard in Djuma, most surrounding game reserve, we tend... Oh, it's Kalamba. So it's not a Tandy. Thank you very much, everyone. So like I say, when I got here, I was told, but it's very good, that, we're able to identify this specific cat here. So Kalamba is one of our princes cat in the area right now. We're looking at beautiful cat that we always know, isn't it, hey? Isn't that always special about how we name these animals? Every time we find them, we know which one. And then, of course, going back to how we name this animal, specific, a leopard. We discuss, look at the face, look at her face. Look at this, everyone. Such a beautiful face of this cat. So, going back to how we name them, so it works this way. Usually, we have a first spot, because you're gonna now, you have to find the cubs first, and whoever spot the cubs first, and then it's gotta be kind of like meetings going on. We have a rangers meeting every time in the area, Northern Scent. This is how the debate is gonna be going in. Everybody's gonna put their own name down, and give a lot of trial for everyone to gotta go, put their name down, but finally it's gonna be also rewarded for who spot this leopard for the first time. And then maybe it's going to be taken from there if that name that specific person gave, it makes sense and everybody likes it. But it works that way. So we've seen leopards over the years in this area grow up with their own name just because they've been named since very young. I'm going to stick around with this cat here, see what she does for us with a beautiful face.
Well, my lionesses seems to have lost interest in hunting, but it's because of the one, lioness that wasn't very interested in going. And so the sister moved back, and now they're lying, behind that, Mairua Cordata bush. And there's nothing I can do apart from wait, but I have a very beautiful scenery, like you can see. I have all these beautiful balanitis trees, the rolling down hills and wooded savanna. So it is very beautiful here, as you can see. So as I wait for them, I'm gonna enjoy this area, because we can always take you to different areas to see what we can offer.
You're right, that's very cool. And here with us is a small herd of toppies. And toppy is a very common antelope here in the Mara. Although you don't not really expect to see this antelope in so many other parts of Kenya or the world as a whole. It is endemic to the Mara Serengeti ecosystem, the closely related to South African CCB. This is a time of the year when toppies in the Mara are dropping the youngs. And a while ago we had about 2 young toppies. Right now they've gone into the grass, so we do not have them in the... you can see one of them right there. Probably she's... All right, bird eye. The mountains on the background over there, this is the famous Olololo escarpment. The Olololo escarpment is basically the western boundary of the Mara Triangle or the Mara Game Reserve as a whole. Right, back to our topics. Right, Lisa, I absolutely agree with you. The landscapes here in the Mara are very special. They're stunning. Especially right now with a bit of sunshine and shades. This just makes it a very magical view. Dotted with these lone balanitis trees. I mean, you know, Masai Mara is a Maasai word meaning spotted land. This is as a result of these widely spaced balanitis trees. Topis are enjoying this particular area because, Topi are enjoying this particular bit of grass, large, recently burned area, which is quite nice and nutritious. Again, we're gonna drive away and just leave them enjoy the part of the evening.
All right, so it looks like Kalamba, she's now taking it easy. In this area, it's already 3 vehicles, including myself. And then, well, she still have a lot of gap between us. And of course, the way they spot here, I'm not sure. It could be that maybe she was on move. And then that vehicle spot there, I think they first look for the update. I think they were just driving after the camp there. And that's how they bump on her. So if it's that the case, then she was on move. She's probably going to take it easy right now, but then she'll eventually maybe arrive into that water hole, have a drink. Kalamba moving around a lot in this area, where it's right now, she's still within her mother's territory, and then of course she's independent already, but she hasn't yet moved out of here. Don't know what she has seen. Looks like she's now looking. Cannot tell whether she well fed or hasn't. But once she stood up, then we'll be able to know that by looking at her belly. Also, the Kalamba, she's one of the machinery. For the past few weeks, she was seen on fully grown impalas for that, and then of course the dog stole that, killed, and then the next morning she was seen on a water buck. So she kills quite often. She still had a lot of energy, a young girl like that. But of course, they're highly nocturnal. Daylight for them to move. Of course, understand that when they have to, it's a waste of energy. Sometimes worth a lot, because this is how also, when there's a chance they can able to kill. Right, so we have a lot of time just to wait here to see what she's finally gonna do for us.
Oh, I hope Miss Kalamba gets up and moves. It's very hot for the cats. I can imagine seeking shade and staying flat is what I would do. Now, the elephants have left, but we came across the exact same green-backed heron, perched in the exact same position on this dead tree in the middle of Chitwa Dam, doing exactly what it was doing, fishing. And it's so incredible. It's literally perfected the most unique technique, using the tree to disguise itself. It's clinging on. And every so often it'll just move its body forward, stretch out that long neck that herons tend to have, and grab something out the water. Now they'll eat fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and even insects. They've got a really diverse diet, and I'm not entirely sure what it's fishing for right now. I don't think it's fish. I have a funny feeling it's some sort of aquatic insect. but it really... You see that? It's really perfected the most incredible technique. It doesn't look entirely comfortable on that tree, yet it's working. It's working for this heron. Whatever it's doing is working. They're sometimes called the striated herons as well, but I think the most common name that's used out here, at least in the Lowveld, is the green-backed heron. Very patient, remarkable patience, waiting for that right moment. Tracy, you are right. We saw it the other day. And again, we're seeing it again. I think it's the same individual in that same crouched position, just waiting for the right moment to strike. See that? Faster than light, and I don't know what it's eating, but it's snatching it out of the air with that long beak. They can also stab. I was asked this the other day. I've never seen it in a green-backed heron, but they can also use that long, sharp beak, almost like a dagger, and stab their prey. But it really depends on the size of the prey. The smaller the prey, like aquatic insects or even tadpoles, will be easy to just quickly grab and put down the esophagus. Bigger prey, unfortunately, will need a lot more effort. Oh, what a drive today in this incredible heat. We've absolutely loved answering all your questions, so please do send them through. This has been a wonderful live safari. Everything's happening as we see it, and we are coming to you from 6 different locations across Africa. So I think BK and I are going to stay here at Chitwa Dam a little bit longer and watch this afternoon unfold.
Well done, Lauren. Just stay by the Chitwa waterhole, because by the waterhole there's a possibility of seeing maybe even a surprise leopard or lions coming to have a drink. Now, I got friends of mine here that every time I see them, I remember the meerkats in the Kalahari Desert, but these ones here are what we call the banded mongoose. We also sometimes call them the striped mongoose. And to see them on top of that termite mound, it tells you they're absorbing some warmth from the substrate. But above all, most likely, that could also be their den. The mongoose live in colonies, like here we have about 10. And sometimes you could have them 40 together. And I mean, it's for the first time I'm seeing, I think, again, because of the heat of the day, they look a little bit, not flat per se, but still alert, unlike lions when they go flat. But in general, the mongoose are always so cute. And they're always so busy, always very active. And to me, they look like they have made a flower on that termite mound. Well, the only one reason why they cannot all go flat, they need to be awake, they need to be alert, just in case you might get some big raptors coming to predate on them. But here in the savannah, their major concern, or the biggest natural enemy, are snakes. And most of the cobras. From the village I come from, they have always caused us a lot of mayhem. When they come at night to steal our chickens, they will dig using their claws under the chicken pen and get inside and they just catch the chickens by their neck and pull them out. The only thing we see the following day are just the feathers. It's once in a while, but their main food, the banded mongoose, they'll feed on, they're basically insectivorous. They feed on beetles, millipedes, grasshoppers, any other insect they would catch. So if you go to an area where you'll see them droppings, or see their droppings, you'll see lots of shells of beetles. But you do not want to see a fight between a mongoose and a snake. They look small, but they are sleek, they are fast, and very good fighters. Remember, we are coming to you live from many locations of Africa. Should you have any questions, please send them through. #WorldEarth. We'll be having lots of joy to answer your questions in real time. Great comment. Yes, David, I think those mongoose, they have made a flower for themselves on their home of the termite mound. Earlier I was talking about the black cotton soil that we have here in the Masai Mara. And you can see that mound. It is very bare. I wouldn't know how many termites are in there, but surprisingly, you'll see the mound there and the termites far. Chris, we have different types of mongoose here in Kenya. Now, this is just one of them. We have another species that we call the dwarf mongoose. We have another one that we call the marsh mongoose. We have the slender mongoose, long-tailed mongoose. We have another 5-6 different types of mongoose. But the ones, or the type that we see more often than not, are what we have for you there, that we call the striped or the banded mongoose. Every few weeks, sometimes every few months, you'll get them changing their den. And of course, that's just making sure they're keeping their tracks covered away from the other enemies. We have seen even jackals sometimes hunting the mongoose, apart from the snakes. Big birds, as I said earlier, like raptors, will do the same. A marabou stock, they have been known to hunt these beautiful creatures. But it's all the cycle of life out here in the African wilderness. As it cools off, I'll not be surprised if they're all up and about. Christine, you've asked me a very tricky question, and you've given me some homework because you're asking me how to tell the difference between. I'll be for you, and most likely either later on or tomorrow I'll give you a very good answer. But off my head, I would say in general, I would say females could be slightly bit larger in size than males. That could be like immediate guess off my head. But believe me, I'll be getting you a better and maybe more concrete answer, most likely for my colleagues, or I'll do a bit of research and let you know what could be the difference between the males and the females. Very snoozy, but you look, two of them are still looking up. Sometimes you see them standing on their hind feet. I'm sure you've all seen the meerkats in Kalahari. It's always because of safety. They do not want to be preyed on. You'll be surprised if there's any alarm right now, the speed in seconds, they'll disappear in that termite mound. But also notice how they blend in very well on that mound. And this is beautiful. I want to spend a few more minutes here watching this colony or a business of mongoose before I move on.
All right. Little game. Can you spot the cheetah? How about now? tucked in amongst that vegetation, we have mom cheetah and 3 little cubs. She's moved about 100 meters north from where she previously was yesterday, and she's tucked up in a very secure little site. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait out here, and hopefully we strike gold. Hopefully she gets a little bit more relaxed with our presence, and as the sun starts to set and gets a bit cooler, she brings these little ones out for us. So we'll hold out over here, and as soon as things unfold, we'll be sure to let you guys know. But a very secure site. By the looks of it, looks like they're just feeding at this point in time. So, you know, with babies, eat, sleep, and then wake up, and it's playtime. Especially young cubs, cheetah and lion. After a little bit of a snooze, it's A for away. It's time to play. So hopefully we have a little bit of luck as the afternoon goes on. But otherwise, nice and cool. I can't be complaining of where we are right now. And we are so lucky.
Beautiful. So our Princess Columba, she have moved from the last spot, and then so we're just gonna, you can see a little bit of a visual there, and it looks like she's hunting. So whatever is in front of her, we can't see it right now. So I don't want to move, because the minute I move, it's probably that we're going to make a lot of noise, and then whatever she's on is probably just going to vanish. So, but you can see how she look on the ground, and is that it's because whatever she sees probably close. You know, we have a lot of brushes right in front of us. We cannot see what she sees. But according to the other car, they say there was a grey duiker running around here. It's a small antelope. It's pretty much would suit her size. You can see a little bit of a glimpse. Sorry about this, everyone, but we're probably going to finally get a visual of her. So I'm just going to take time here.
We've came across the most, well, slightly gross but intriguing scenario on the road. I'm struggling to see what's going on here, and I was hoping that maybe some of you could help me. I don't know if it's flies. Some of them have got a very sort of amber-looking body or thorax with stripes, which makes them look like bees, but they're very, very small, and they're clearly swarming over something. I also don't know what, and I don't want to interrupt them. I don't want to go poking and prodding. Summer is really on its way, everyone. I know that some of you are very keen insect lovers. I just can't figure out exactly what it is I'm looking at. There's so many of them. Now, being from the UK, I often think of bees as a big, fat, hairy bumblebee. That's the most common one that we get in the UK. But in South Africa, there's actually around about 1,000, slightly over, different species of bees, and some of them are endemic. And what endemic means is restricted to one geographical location and only found in that area. So, for example, Ethiopia has a high number of endemics, just like the Ethiopian wolf, the giant mole rat, the mountain nyala. They're only found in a specific area of Ethiopia, nowhere else in the world. So some species of bees are actually endemic to various different parts of South Africa. The fynbos, the succulent karoo, different areas have their own species of bees that you won't find anywhere else in South Africa. I believe that there's around 2 subspecies of honeybee that are actually indigenous. And what indigenous means is that they come from that country. I don't really know what it is I'm looking for. Isn't it wonderful to see so many insects? I've noticed a big increase in all the insects around us in camp, on drives. The season is really starting to change. We know we're in spring, we just need to look at the knobthorns. But summer's fast approaching. And if this afternoon's temperatures are anything to go by, it looks like a swarm of flies, but if you can just pick out an individual and look at his body, he's got a very orangey amber body with stripes. I know that some people won't be able to watch this. I realise it may send shivers down some people's spine, but it's also fascinating. Something delicious is there. I think it's a fruit of some sort. And of course, if they are bees, they play an instrumental role in supporting biodiversity and ecosystems. Matt Chip, you're saying this is seriously fascinating. I know, I can't tear my eyes away from it. I'm going to try and get closer, everyone. Bear with me. 2 seconds. I'm going to jump out the vehicle. I'm going to have to go behind the vehicle, I'm afraid, because I parked into vegetation. And I just want to see if I really can get an understanding of what's going on here. Because you're right, it's seriously fascinating. The bodies are orange with black stripes completely. Now, I'm not allergic to bees, and I'm also not going to harm anything here. I'm just going to try and see what it is that they're swarming over. You're not going to believe what it is, everyone. It's a stone. It's a piece of quartz. Something must be on that. Something must have dropped. Otherwise, why on earth would they be swarming a stone? Right, here we go, BK. Are you ready for your moment? Okay. There we go, everyone. Let's see what wonderful macro shots BK can get. I'm going to run round again and plug in. I think it really could be bees. And I think that someone has dropped something or spilt something, maybe Coca-Cola or something sugary, something sweet, and that's why they're swarming. Wow. Because this is just a stick, and on the ground it's just a stone. It's just a piece of quartz. Okay, BK, I'm just going to slowly get in the car now that I'm plugged in, and I don't want to ruin BK's shot here. But there we go. Now I can see the monitor, so I can see what all of you can see. Yeah, definitely bees, but they're very small. Now I'm just going to put my porcupine quill here, and you can see the sort of size difference here. Wow. This is such a fascinating sighting. Many of you know I absolutely love summer. I think it's just the best time here in the Lowveld. You can never stop learning about insects and the fascinating life that they lead. I'll need to get a species identification on these later. So get screenshotting, everyone. We've got one last individual. See it feeding there? Can clearly see. Oh, it's carrying. Oh, okay. You want your own little piece of whatever delicious delicacy is there. Wow, everyone, what a sighting. I'm going to remove this stick now. Yes, there's something sticky on the stick, but I'm really not sure what it is. So I think BK and I are going to sit here a little bit longer, completely mesmerized by this scenario.
All right, thank you and welcome to the Mara once again. Fred is my name, and we've got a beautiful bird here. It's a lilac-breasted roller, and for a while she's been struggling to dismember a grasshopper. And I think it's got quite a big meal here, maybe a little bit too big to swallow. So the roller is turning it around, hitting it or smashing on against the ground, probably to break it into smaller, manageable pieces. Rollers are quite very common birds here in the Mara, especially in the open grassland, and very colorful, and for this reason, it is the national bird of Kenya. The struggle continues, and as you can see, some bit of the wings are kind of almost falling down. Right. Look at that. So beautiful. So many colors in one bird. It's just an amazing jewel here with us. When these birds fly, when that is an opportunity to see the multiple colors, especially right now when the sun is shining, gorgeous and beautiful to watch this bird fly and see the reflection of the various colors on his feathers. This is a recently burned area, and a bit to our left is a small herd of tortoises enjoying the lush green, nutritious grass. Diane, you're asking of sunflower? In Kenya, yes, we do have sunflowers like pampas grass. Right. Yeah, don't really have that type of grass. Like here, the most common grass is the red oat grass, and the Kikuyu grass, the Maasai love grass. That's the very, very common type of grasses we have around. So I'm gonna reverse a bit and show our viewers that big, small herd of tortoises and zebras just behind us. All right, Archie, we have a camera to the left, and this is gonna be very interesting to watch these tortoises and zebras peacefully grazing. All right, good to see this interaction of the lilac-breasted roller eating a meal. It's quite so nice.
Well, lilac-breasted roller is my favorite bird of that size. Of all the birds we got in Africa, the lilac is my favorite one because of the beautiful colors they got. Now, I moved on after I left my friends, the Mungus, and a friend of mine had told me there was some news of some lionesses here where I am. I haven't seen them as yet, and you always get a pride of lions here. That's called the River Pride, and he had seen 2 females, but that was in the morning. But instead of the lionesses, I have found for you cheetah's favorite food, and these are the Thompson gazelles. And you can tell now the temperature has gone down and everybody is getting busy. I would want to believe even the mongoose that are left behind on top of the termite mound, they must be active, but not maybe wagging the tails like the Thompson gazelles here. Not sure the big one there could be a grunt. One looks a little big there. Class of knowledge, you're asking what they're eating. Now, class of knowledge, those gazelles there are grazing. And in general, I haven't seen the Tommies eating anything different from grass. So class of knowledge, I would say almost 100% sure they are eating grass. But now, I was looking on that one. You see that little big issue one there? Bunge is trying to do the best he can to bring it close to the screen, but that one could be a different species, and that one is called the Grand Gazelle. If you look at her carefully and look at her hindquarters, it's white both below and above the tail. If you look on the side, the very conspicuous black stripe that you see in Thompson gazelles, it is almost not very clear. It's not as conspicuous as it is in the Tommies. And that particular one there is called a Grand Gazelle. A little bigger in size than the Tommies, but of course they all have a commonality on what they feed on. Grass. Now, if we could be lucky, the only other thing we could see here was a cheetah. This is all beautiful cheetah country, none in sight, but at least we've seen the Tommies, and we'll be moving on because I want slowly to go back to that baby elephant, that her little limp, to see how she is doing. That we call Jasiri. I'm sure all of you are still remembering her name. All right, and we'll be updating you on her progress.
All right, these little ones are out for the count. The saying in South Africa, maag is full, oog is toe. Translated from Afrikaans, stomach full, eyes closed. And that's exactly what these little ones are currently doing. We can just see one or two of them through the three-thorn thicket. It's this bush that's currently in view. Very prominent shrub-like bush out to the western sections of Tswalu. And just in the mix of things, we can, with a biners, we can just make out one or two that are flat cats. Taking it very easy. But all we need is just one individual to wake up, stir the pot. My fingers and toes are crossed. Hopefully it'll happen. And if it does, we are going to be in for a little treat. Obviously, seeing little animals like this is really amazing. In my career, this is the youngest cheetah I've ever seen in my couple of years guiding. It's a real privilege and honor to be able to view these animals. And at the age, and also with Mom being here, really, really, really lucky that she's displaying the behavior that she is, being so relaxed. Obviously, respect is number one. You give respect, you get respect, and that's great in this circumstance.
So we are currently at one of our water holes, and we just spotted a hippo out of the water, which in this area is quite rare. He was just walking along the bank there, and over the last few weeks we've only been seeing 2 hippos in this water hole, both of them in the water at the moment. So this might be a younger male moving around. Let's see. Oh no, that looks like a kudu or something. Good spotting, Gert. He just disappeared into the bush back there. But it would be quite interesting to see if he does approach the water, what this bull would do, the dominant male that's in the water at the moment. I think it's only the two of them, like I said, so a bull and a cow there. We just see the heads popping up every now and again. They're in the water trying to keep cool. There they are. You can see the eyes and the ears and the nostrils, and back down. Keeping an eye on us. We were hoping to potentially see some elephants coming down for a drink, or actually anything, really. But no luck yet. So I think we're going to stick around here for a little bit and just see what we can find. It is a really hot day, so really good place to be waiting.
Right, so finally we've got another clear look of the lumber right here. It looks like that grey duiker shoe is up onto it, and then it's finally the duiker got this leopard side and ran away from here. But you know, she's still hoping that anything can was close to the water where she is right now. For her to approach and drink, it's all about checking who could be around the water hole so that she can use her own experience. Where there's going to be a lot open for her to just arrive and drink, and of course the prey species, and they will possibly Craig. Indeed, you're right, yes. Such a gorgeous cat out here, and especially now, you know, we still have her, and then still under mom's umbrella. When we mean that, is that the mother's territorial, also father's territorial. But, you know, we haven't seen much of, for the past few days, you know, I had was that Tingana was seen up east, that how we get around back there. So, but anyway, she's now mobile, coming right towards us. Look at this, everyone. Look at that beautiful color. She's probably getting rid of the thorns. Sometimes they got a thorn in them, or look at this. But yeah, she'll come to the stage where Sassy Cassie, when do I think this cat, the lumber, would be ready to mate? So, usually I would think she's around 3 years now. So usually for a normal female leopard, you know, their first to conceive is going to be around 4 years, 4.5 years, roughly somewhere there. So, but anyway, she's nearly, and it's only maybe, could be slightly earlier than that, or slightly later than that. That's average for leopard. She's gonna, sorry everyone, we got a few vehicles here, 2 other vehicles, so we're just gonna, she's just right behind our vehicle now, so there's no way we can film her, but there's a chance she will pop out right on the other side there. And I'm just gonna, she's now on our left-hand side. To see that with a little baby scrub hair in front of us. Just gonna stick around.
We've either got Sebwig's mama or dada. This time not in a tree. Just sitting on the top of the, well, embankment here in the Mowati. And it's quite interesting because they are actually ground nesters. So where we found Sebwig last year was a very unusual place, just a small little hole in the embankment that would have been made by something else, and he was just nestled in there, a little bundle of grey down. So when you see oh, look at that swivel of the head. Full swivel there. We've got the babblers all around creating a racket. And of course, this owl's not going to get active until the sun starts to go down. But this really is the perfect habitat for not only roosting, seeking shade and staying safe, but also nesting. Jolly Whiskey, you're asking, do owls hunt birds that roost in trees? Normally when a bird is roosting in the trees, it's quite camouflaged. It's quite disguised by just staying perched on the branch and sort of immersing itself. Sorry. Hi, Nigel. By just completely camouflaging itself in the branches of the trees. So owls generally tend to not hunt birds that are roosting in trees. They're masters of silent flight. They're very, very quiet when they fly. And why they're so quiet is because they're listening. They're using sound for the sound of the prey that are also in flight. And therefore, they have the sort of advantage of being stealthy and quick and grabbing a bird out of flight. That must take some precision, some skill to be able to do that. And the reason they can stay so silent is that they have really large wings. When they open their wings, that wingspan is really large relative to the size and the mass of their body. So that's sort of one thing that contributes to them being silent. And it's called a low wing loading. It's a bit of a mouthful, low wing loading. The fact that the wings are so large, and it means they don't have to flap excessively. One flap from those wings will give them a lot of power, a lot of lift in the air, in order to not flap constantly, to remain quieter. The very, very end of an owl's wing, the sort of edge, if you like, has really smooth, silky, velvety feathers, and they're frayed. If you really look at an owl in fright, you'll see it's frayed at the end, and basically this splits up the passage of air. So instead of air hitting a solid wing, by being frayed at the end, it breaks it up. And this also contributes to the birds being silent and the birds being fast. So that's what they're the masters of. They swoop down, use their talons and grab either things walking on the ground or birds in flight. They're master hunters, really. Well-developed, let's try that again, Lauren. Well-developed eyes for seeing in the dark, silent flight, acute hearing, a swiveling head. They really are a unique sort of group of animals. And owls are divided into two families, and there's a few different reasons, but the main reasons is the sound. The two groups are the tritonids, and they will include your sort of grass or barn owls, if you like. And then you get the strigids, like what we're looking at right now, the spotted eagle owl. Now, the tritonids screech. They're known as screeching owls. And the strigids are the hooting owls, the hooters. Hoot, hoot. And the spotted eagle owl is a hooter, not a screecher. But it's just so wonderful to see them again, and I think all of us in the team must continue to come down here and try and see when we can spot them nesting, maybe even get a glimpse of eggs, and then hopefully get some chicks. Because Sebwig was such a delight for all of us. I didn't think I would see the men in my team getting gooey over a baby owl, but oh, I did. Even the cameraman. But they are monogamous, and they do sort of roost together. Not necessarily right next to one another, but in the same area, in visual and audio contact with one another. But I can't see the partner right now. We still haven't really figured out who's mom, who's dad. I will be honest with you on that level. Very difficult to tell apart. Karush, now you're saying owls are precious, aren't they? We have some wonderful owls at home too in the UK, and they're just, once you start to learn about their biology and how they've evolved, it's just incredible. They've got their own specialised niche in the ecosystem, and they have specialised adaptations like the neck swivel of 270 degrees that other groups of birds do not have. And I think all of these features make them very precious indeed. So I think we are going to continue our river cruise for this afternoon.
Beautiful. Eventually, Tlhalama the princess arrive in this waterhole scene and drinking right now. And then, of course, she must be thirsty after that long walk she has done in that brush, woody area where she was. You can see how trying to take as much as could the water. And she drink, also she's checking for a safety. Remember everyone, questions are welcome. You can drop us the questions on hashtag Wild Earth, hashtag CGTN, and of course on YouTube and Twitter as well. So your question will be taken from there, watching this beautiful cat, and now live right here at Juma. Looks like she needed a lot of water, of course. But when she finished drink here, not that, it's not the end. So wherever she goes, whenever she feels thirsty again, she'll go drink. The way it looks for me, when she was moving in there, her belly's not bad. She's probably eaten something out there where she come from. Where I'm not sure where she actually come from, where she was. It's quite a big area here where she operate. Could be that she was around here, nobody found her. That's possible. They're very sneaky, this animal. Panthera pada. Look at the... It looks like now she's done. Beautiful whiskers as well. Joel, how often do leopard drink water? So they need water regularly, and more especially, for them hunting, they lots of energy, but water it's key for them. So you find out maybe she haven't eaten since the whole day today, and then she probably drink somewhere else where she come from, because this is how she get around, or most leopards do the same. And then they still active during the day, and then of course 3 times a day, twice a day, and of course when they have a meat as well, they need to dilute after that feeding, head down to a water, drink, and come back, and then sit around and kill until it's finished. But of course, roughly 3 days, 2 days, and then 3 times a day, two times, 3 times a day, leopard can drink. Looks like we're losing the sight here, but we're still in the area. We're just gonna keep up with that cat, see how far she take us into.
Very well, Andrew, for having spotted the leopard this afternoon. Now, I do not know how often this kingfisher drinks, but I'm thinking maybe when she dives in the water to catch, most likely fish, she'll always grab the fish with a few drops of water. Just thinking. I'm sure you all know this is the pied kingfisher, and that is her hunting ground. They always sit very patiently, like where she is, looking into the water and hoping some fish will come on top. She's going to dive and catch the fish. But looking at all the kingfishers we got in Africa, this one to me has the best hunting strategy. When you see them hovering on top of water sometimes, they hover, fly, move the wings, but you'll notice the eye concentrated in the water under. Then they stop hovering, then they start flapping the wings again, and by so doing, they would mesmerize their prey. Say, talk of a fish, and then they drop maybe a meter or two lower. They repeat the same, and the fish somehow loses concentration and forgets it could be in danger of being hunted by a predator, like this kingfisher, and also looks at her wings flapping. And the next thing she dives, using her beak, catches the fish. Then sometimes you'll see them beating the fish on the twig or a stick, and more often than not, they'll always go back where they were perched. Yes, Han, you're saying, what a pretty kingfisher. Well, Hans, I'll tell you, in general, kingfishers are beautiful. In general, all of them. And that's a great comment. Should you, Hans, have a question, don't be shy to ask. And look at the chest, the black band there that separates males from females. She has been very patient there for some time. Risky, look, you're getting the answer right there. Speak of the devil. Bungay, very well done for your work. That's exactly what I was talking about. Looks like she got 4 wings. It's just 2. Look at the speed. And what she's doing now to mesmerize the fish in the water. Fish will come up every 1 minute. And the next thing, you'll see her just go diving and bring the fish up. Are you lucky yet? It's a long, like, pool of water, so she needs to keep changing positions until, because her shadow can be seen in the water. That's what sometimes will bring the fish up on the surface. That's why you see her going up and down. See how clever she is in her hunting skills. And if nobody comes up, she'll go and try hunting elsewhere. How cool was that? I'm thinking maybe most of the fish that are here are big ones. I would say, like the catfish. And of course, those would be too big for her. Bungay, do you think we got some 1 or 2 birds on the road there that don't want us to go anywhere? What do you think that is? All right, I'll ask you a question before I move on. We got a bird there. Which bird do you think that is? Look at her carefully. There are 2 of them. I would guess it's a male and a female. And I'm sure when you see me next, you're going to tell me what species of the bird that is. So look at them carefully. Look at the base of the beak, and that should give you a clue. Look at the color of the waters there. Look at the legs, the white forehead, the black crown, the brown feathers, the black tail feathers. I'm sure you now all got the answer. Which bird species is this one? And the third one came in just to make your lives easier. And you can tweet your answers #WildEarth. And I'll be happy to hear your answers much later.
All right, very, very interesting and fascinating part about being in the bush is the ancient art of tracking. And being in an environment like this, it is a perfect format to really experience and understand tracks and signs. What we're going to be showing you over here is the largest even-toed ungulate track that there is. And if anybody can put the answer through, can let me know. We're going to be taking a look. Dave, you can just show us over here. Very large track. Large ones can be up to 19 centimeters. And in respect to my foot, you can see how big, let me come this way, how big it is. When it comes to tracking, obviously just make sure that you got your principles right. You can see how my shoe would be casting a shadow and we really can't see the full aspect of the track. So making sure that the track is in between us and the sun, that we can see every bit of detail. Very large track. And if you guys can put an answer through, let me know what that is. And if we look, take a look how beautifully displayed this track really is. Nice. Just on a nice, gentle walk. And actually cross the path in front. Wow, giraffe is A. Well done, ladies and gents. Giraffe is the one. Largest even-toed ungulate track there is. And obviously just crossing the path of our trusty steed. Look at that. Beautiful. What should we name it, David?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, maybe we should ask the viewers for some names. What should we name our trusty steed? And I think the best name, we'll take it and we will name it. Beautiful number 9 for now, but we'll listen to all the answers coming through.
So we found 2 large elephant bulls in the riverbed, and we think they just had a drink. You can actually see if you look at their bodies, especially the one on the bank there, the one further to the left. You can see how dark he is from throwing water onto himself to cool himself down. And then after they had a drink, they stopped off, and the one is still feeding on the reeds in the riverbed. But it seems like they're heading off. This is a good place to kind of wait for them. Elephants love this riverbed in the afternoon. Big saggy bottom. I always say it looks like they're wearing wet pants if you look at them from the back. And he's off as well. So this is what he'll be doing for most of the evening, or both of them, just feeding. Still chewing on those reeds, and he's already picking the next bunch. we're going to stay here, maybe see if we can get a better view of the third one that's just in front of us.
From elephants to elephant. But our sign is a serpent because this is Jasiri. For those of you who could be joining us now, we discovered this calf a few days ago. And if you watch her closely walking, you can tell she got an issue with her front right foot. Now, the vet doctors have given her wonderful care. And she is doing very well. Chita, you just got that question out of my mouth. And you remember just saying, for the new viewers who might have joined us now, I was just telling you the story of this baby elephant. Well, a colleague of mine, Isaac, I'm sure you all know Isaac, saw it and reported to the game authorities with the game warden here. And they came swiftly and did what they could. In Kenya, we got about 40 plus different dialects, and our national language here is called Swahili. Jasiri in Swahili translates to courage, or better, courageous. When I first saw her 5 days ago, she walked a whole 5 kilometers in that condition because she was in a very open area. And she knew so well that she was very vulnerable to predators because lions, hyenas have been known to target anything young, anything sick, anything limping. And she walked herself into a bush. And what I saw in her was the determination to live. I was so touched, and we did a poll on Twitter, and I gave two names, one Jasiri, and the other one was Imani, the faith to live. And I think we got about 68% on the Twitter poll, where all the wonderful viewers said we should call her Jasiri. So Cheetah Jasiri means courageous, and you can tell, albeit her physical condition or the challenge she has, she's eating, she hasn't lost weight, she's doing very well. She has been in an open area for the last few days, but not sure she wants to go to those trees to join a family which I think has adopted her. That is the family. On day one, I saw her on her own. But the day after and the day after, I've seen this family very close to her. And I think they have accommodated her. Not very sure if this was her original family, or as they said, is a family that has adopted her because of her condition. Bright, affectionate animals, elephant are. I'm not surprised now. She got a home and she got a family to live with. The other day I requested all the viewers to give a clap to that family because I think it did very well. And I'd be happy if from where you are, you could do the same and give that family a huge applause for welcoming this baby to tag along or live with them. Wonderful. I'll be leaving this baby elephant, as I said, called Jasiri for now. Hopefully I'll catch up with her tomorrow.
Right, we've got our cat on move, Kalamba, so she's moving in this very much difficult stuff to see her, but we're soon gonna have another visual. And then, whoa, she's right here. Almost drove past her. Look, she's right here. Oh, beauty. Look at that. So she's now have moved to the place where she had a bushbuck killed the other day, close to the area. But you probably know this is her area. This is the area of operational for her. And then, she moved carefully, so it looks like she's still pretty much interested, sniffing around, hoping for anything will just gonna come out of this wood. Remember, fully grown impala, she will kill anything. Grey duiker, steenbok. So yeah. So yeah, it's really fantastic to look at the leopard right close to us. Looks like feel you're gonna touch it, but unfortunately, they're a wild animal. But this is how beautiful they are. Look at the skin of this animal. Look how she moves, very comfortable. There's quite a few vehicles when they come into this leopard. So we might actually have to give them a space and then later on come to rejoin this sighting. If there's a chance that leopard, they still got her. Definitely, I don't think, unless if she crossed one of the river in front of her, and I'm not sure if these guys will be able to follow it. I'm still in the area here. Gonna give it another chance. Looks like, well, yeah, go. Seeing something. Darthin, 10 years old. Very good question that. Keep watching that animal still on a hunt, but I'm gonna answer your question. And, this is what is very exciting about, youth. Very much, involved in this kind of a wild animal, wanting to know their, status and things. So leopard male can grow bigger, about heavy, anything from 75 kg. That's a male, but the female can reach anything from 60, 65 kg. So that's average weight for them. There's a difference. Male lot bigger, female small. So I'm gonna get another look.
So we've repositioned ourselves and we're currently looking at a younger bull, still on the riverbed drinking. Just have a look at how his back legs are crossed over each other. Oh, no, he's stepping on that leg again. Quite often when you watch elephants drink or feed, you'll notice that they'll either cross the legs over or they might just not put weight on one of the legs just to rest them, and they'll alternate the legs like that. And that's because they're on their feet for so long. As I mentioned earlier, they feed for 18 to 20 hours of the day, which is a very long time. So they'll try and give those legs a rest whenever they can. So those other two bulls have moved off. He's the only one currently in the riverbed, and much younger than the other two. I'd say he's probably in his late teens, maybe early 20s, but I'd say late teens. Looked like he just waved at us.
Welcome back. When we were last with you, we were at those 2 sleeping male cheetah. And we've since left them. We've decided that they are probably going to stay there for the rest of the afternoon and just stay there where they're very comfortable and they can see really nicely around them and just let their food digest. We came into this area just in search of any sort of rhino or grazers that we could find, and we were very lucky to come across this beautiful mother white rhino with her young calf. And calf has just gone behind her. You can see its little legs poking out. There we go. You see its head kind of going down to graze right next to her. And as she moves out, there we go. Now we can see the size of that little calf. You can see he's, or she, or no, it looks like a he. Yeah, looks like a young male. And he's quite a bit below her hip height. But he's quite significantly above her belly. So generally at the bottom of the belly, if they're about that tall, then they're about 3 months old. And as they get to the top of the hip, they're about 1 year. So I would age this rhino at about 6 months. You can actually see the mother, she's looking at us now. You can see how much her horn has regrown. They do grow at about 6 centimeters a year on average. So we do have to, it's not a one-time thing when you dehorn rhino, unfortunately. You have to do it as a continuous process. It's made out of the same thing as our fingernails. So just like our fingernails keep growing and then we need to clip them, we need to do the same with these rhino. Now you're just watching an elephant. Quite funny enough, we also have an elephant in the background. One of those beautiful moments at Anbjörnpinda when we actually have, 2 of our big 5 within viewing distance. Quite amazing. We were just sitting watching these rhino and we heard a crash in the trees behind to our left, and we just saw this elephant reversing out of there. He's having a good old feed, pulling down some branches. The reason you'll hear quite a bit more branches breaking around this time is you can see that the grass isn't quite dried out and the leaves also a little bit dried out, so elephants are getting quite a bit of their nutrients from eating the bark on these branches. If we go back and have a look at these rhino, you can see, I don't know if you look just below her back legs there, maybe see those swollen teats just as she moves. So even at 6 months, this calf is still going to be suckling. You see, as she moves her feet, you'll see those swollen teats. Rivki, I was just heading towards that answer. So that young calf, you've been seeing that it is in fact feeding on grass. But now we've also noticed that mother still has very swollen teats. And any mother of any animal, the teats will only be swollen while it's still suckling the young. So we know this calf is still in fact suckling, and it is about 6 months, as we were saying. They actually are only weaned at about 18 months old, which is really late, but throughout this time, from about 3 months, even a little bit earlier, they'll already start feeding on grass. So it's going to be a supplementary diet, but from about 18 months, then they are completely weaned. So it looks like these rhino are slowly moving off towards the thicket. we're just going to sit with them and watch it for a little bit and hope that maybe this elephant comes out into the open.
We've just been watching this monitor lizard, a water monitor lizard, swimming. It was actually really refreshing, literally, to watch the monitor lizard swim, because normally we see them quite stationary on trees or sunbathing. Oh, I think someone's hungry. Or we see them hunting on the ground. But we don't always see them swimming, and it's really the tail, that long, powerful tail, that's sort of propelling them through the water. They haven't got fins, they haven't got flippers, they haven't got webbed feet, so they're really sort of they're moving their arms, but they're relying on that tail to really propel them through the water. Someone's definitely hungry today. So yes, I think someone's hungry and hunting here, or going to hide. But it's just starting to get cooler. Look at that. Look at it disappear. You would be forgiven for thinking that was a snake. Wowza, can you believe that? Gone into its burrow just like that, done with the sun for today.
Wow, I'm gonna stop having seen that lizard. Let me know where Bungay wants me. Are you happy there, Bungay? Because here we got a hyena running, and we got elephants, and we got such a beautiful rainbow. Look at that. Isn't that magical? This is what the Masai Mara is all about. Bungay, do you want me to move forward a little bit? Are you happy there? Okay, let me just move forward a little bit. And then you can still have the rainbow behind the Alice, which just looks magnificent. Let me know when to stop. Okay, hold on a minute. Happy? Look at that. The savannah, elephant, the huge magic kingora trees, and the rainbow in the horizon. A bit of thunderstorms from a distance. And this is the charm of the Masai Mara, the tranquility of this place. Just hold on for a couple of seconds. Zero noise pollution. Out of the sky there, clear blue, clouds building, some to the right. Franklin's calling. Risky, you're asking how do rainbows form? Ha 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 ha. Well, I would say it's with convergence of light at a different place. But, Risky, I'll be getting you a good answer much later on how rainbows are formed. But either shortly before the rains, or during the rains, or shortly after. I just love to see the rainbow there. It reminds me of my old days in school, how we were taught to remember all the beautiful colors of the rainbow. But just to have the elephants walking in front of the rainbow, I think, is going to be my highlight today. Apart from having seen Jasuri and knowing she's doing very well, this will be my second best highlight for the afternoon or for the sunset safari. Majestic as they always are, one or two flap of the ears, a little wag of the tail, and passing like a parade, the rainbow, the African savannah. Yes, Solomon, you say, what a magnificent view, 100%. And I would say in French, magnifique. It's quite magnifique. Sometimes I would say, que bonito. It's like a sight to behold. You can hold your breath for a couple of seconds just to believe. So real, natural, and we're coming to you in real time from the Masai Mara of Kenya. Animal life. Can animals see the rainbow? I have no idea. I'm sorry, I have no idea. I would say, I would highly doubt. Maybe elephants, but I have no idea whether it would even make any difference to them. Again, that's another thing I would want to explore, as finding out how rainbows are formed. I had a question earlier asking the difference between males and female mungus or mungis, and just found out that when they are young, when they are immature, the males are slightly larger than the females. But as they grow to adulthood, both sexes are more or less the same in size. I am going to take a photograph of that rainbow and those elephants there in my mind, and then I move on.
So from one picturesque scene to another, we just moved around to get a different angle on these rhinos, and we saw this incredible ray of sunshine shining down. We got some rolling clouds coming in from the south of the reserve, but we've got this beautiful light. Reserve got this beautiful light. Reserve got this beautiful light.
Sorry about that. Don't quite know what happened down in Pinda, but they'll be right back with us. We have a giraffe looking directly down. BK's just going to show you into the old hyena den. Den number 3. We're at the dens, everyone. I checked this morning. I checked first thing this afternoon. Although I knew this afternoon at 3 o'clock was not going to be active. It was far too hot. But still, my heart makes me check. And we came to den number 3 just in case, and we found a giraffe. Now, why I'm checking den number 3, because they've definitely moved into den number 2, is I'm convinced June is pregnant. Her mammary glands are very prominent, they're very visible. There's not any wet suckle marks, so I don't think she's given birth. I think she's going to give birth soon. So I really want to try and follow June a little bit, track her down a bit, and find out where she chooses her natal den to be. You would know, wouldn't you, boy? You can see everything up there. I'm a very short human. I can't see anything. There's so many giraffes around. If you go on a drive through Juma and you don't see a giraffe, oh, it's not a good drive. Annette, you're asking about giraffes sleeping. Very good. They're actually said to be one of the most sleepless animals in the entire animal kingdom. They really don't sleep much, and they sleep in short bouts, almost like napping, if you like. And getting up from the ground is really not easy. So what they normally do, they can sleep standing up. They obviously don't go into a deep sleep like I do and snore their heads off, but they can rest standing up, and they can also lie down and curl their neck around their back. And they sort of have adopted what they call a high alert power nap strategy. Small naps, get up again. Small nap, get up again, for the safety of themselves. Because getting up from the ground is so difficult, predators could get them just like that. Leaves them very, very vulnerable. So they're said to only sleep about 4.5 hours within a 24-hour period. I would not survive on that. Would you, PK? No, he's shaking his head. I need a lot more sleep than that, but that's why they're said to be one of the most sleepless animals in the entire kingdom. They really can't afford to be on the ground, keeled over, snoring their heads off. The lions would come and they would never get a chance to get back up. Giraffes are strong, they're tall, they're powerful, but they're weak on the ground. They rely on their sort of legs to kick. They've got a very powerful kick, and that's what can save their lives. Now, going back to June, she's going to have a natal den that is not the communal den, and that's what I want to find. So that's my next mission over the past few days, just to look for June and check out dens. Megan, you're saying giraffes are so iconic, aren't they? They're so lovely. There's something very gentle about a giraffe, although a real sort of battle between males when they're necking one another, when it's not just for fun or it's not just playing, can be quite disturbing to watch. I witnessed it in Tswalu, and the sound that was coming off, the sort of clanging of ossicones to neck, was very hard to listen to and to watch. So unfortunately, because no one is at any of the dens, I'm going to have to leave. We shall keep bumbling, and hopefully I'm going to get lucky and we're going to come here and all the hyenas are going to be around. My number one mission is to follow June closely and also to get a better look at Hart's cubs. I'm not entirely sure I was right about the sex. I've got a lot of photos, but I think I need to see them in person and get screenshots from... Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. My apologies. Everybody's at the hyena den except the hyenas. This looks like a mother and two piglets. I would imagine if the hyenas were around, these warthogs would not be around. Not the best views, I'm afraid, but as soon as we turn on this engine, warthogs are incredibly skittish. There's a very relaxed family on Chitwa, but other than that, they're really, really nervy, and of course they are. Their environment is filled with predators who are after them.
Right, thank you very much, Doric. And we're looking at a topi with the standing sunset on the background. So this is a typical African sky here in the Mara. You know, this may look like a painting, but the fact is this is real. It's not a painting, it's real. One of the beautiful things to look out here in the Mara is the sunset and sunrises. Like no sunset or sunrise exactly the same like the other one. There's always a slight difference. Every sunrise, every sunset is unique in a way. Very beautiful. It is just a heavenly bliss. Shortly the sun will be disappearing below the hills on the background, and that is the Syria or Olololo escarpment, and things will change here in the Mara. Darkness will take over, and the night sheep keepers will also take over, and probably these grounds will be transformed into a sort of a terror ground. Right, to all our viewers, please do, and I hope you enjoyed this beautiful sky, and hopefully we're gonna have to drive and see if we can find something else to share with you.
This big, it's really nice to see a bird of this size moving across the landscape. All right, so there it goes. Sorry about that, guys. Really beautiful male ostrich moving across the vast landscape of Tswalu. Look at those legs go. Unbelievable. Those two legs can propel that bird at 70 kilometers an hour. Really, really efficient. Wow. Obviously coming over the dune, we just spooked him and he obviously decided to take another route. But really nice. So taking a look at that, the difference between male and female, I'm sure we'll get to see a female somewhere along the lines. Obviously the male being having the plumage of black with those white tapering feathers at the back, but female will be this grey, almost brown coloration. So striking separation between male and that of female. Really nice to see. And also across the landscape gives you a really good understanding of the vastness of Tswalu itself. And then the undulating vegetation or landscape.
Right, you're welcome back to our pretty sunset over here. And see, the light is just gorgeous. Apparently, a little bit more to our right, which is the east, is some pretty shades of rain. Look at that. So amazing. And a while ago, our colleague David at some point had an elephant with a rainbow on the background, and you know, it's something to watch. This is a landscape and a beauty that you don't just see anywhere else, but it's specifically special to enjoy the evening or the mornings in the Mara, just looking at the landscapes and forgetting about so many other things. And you know, it's just, I've never gotten enough of this. Right, I've seen this so many times, but the fact is I've never get enough of it.
It's amazing how something like the African wild just gets into your blood, and there is no getting enough of it. You know, and one day is just not the same as the next, and you can sit and look at the same animals day after day, and they're always doing something new and something interesting. This mother and the calf are slowly walking over this big plain. We've been following them. We just followed them around a corner. You see how the calf actually keeps getting these little frats and then trotting in front of the mother. What you're seeing now with the calf walking in front and the mother walking behind is quite distinctive behavior of white rhino, different to that of black rhino. With white rhino, the calf will generally walk in front of the mother, even when they're fleeing from something that's potentially dangerous. And with black rhino, the calf will walk behind or run behind. And it's an adaptation that actually has suited the white rhino a lot better than the black rhino. There has been cases with black rhino population where hyenas and lion have managed to kill the calf by taking it down behind the mother, and the mother carries on running without noticing. At least with the white rhino, she's has her calf right in front of her at all times and can protect it much, much better that way. You can see, just like those elephants, that these rhinos are not in any hurry at all. They're just slowly feeding as they walk across this plain. Every now and then the mother will pick her head up and have a look around, but they are certainly not concerned about much. You know, being quite a tough, robust animal with that horn in front has its advantages, especially in a game reserve such as Ambionpinda Private Game Reserve, where we have, you know, vast amount of plains game. It means that the lions here really go for something as large as a rhino. They'll rather go for a wildebeest or a zebra. You can actually see that distinctive movement as she feeds. You'll notice how she sways her head sort of from side to side, almost mowing it as she goes along. It's difficult for you to hear, but I can actually hear them munching along as they're walking. Now, if we zoom in on the ears of this female, you'll notice that there is quite a distinctive pattern. You see there's just a little bit taken off from the top, and that is what we call a notch. It's how we identify our rhino. There's 4 different places on each ear that a rhino can have a little bit of skin cut off, and we do that so that we can identify them. Each little place is a different number, so they'll each be given their own unique number, and that way we can monitor them very closely and track them. And while we're doing all our research, we know exactly what rhino we're talking about. So we can know its age, we can know its, home range. In the case of this female, she won't hold a territory, she'll hold a home range. And we'll know a little bit about the history of that rhino. Also, when we do our dehornings, we also take a DNA sample. And this will help us one day firstly identify where the horn came from if they ever seize or confiscate a poached horn. And we hope in the progression of, increasing rhino genetic diversity, as we start to relocate them to different reserves and different countries to try and increase the range and the area that they cover, we hope to also understand the genetic sort of history of each rhino. So then we move them into different areas. We can understand which ones will be the most genetically diverse from each other and the best suited to go into an area together. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave these 2 rhino. They're just going to carry on feeding slowly. They are heading sort of towards a thicket, and we're going to carry on through this open area and see what else we can find for you this afternoon.
Good to see rhinos, and in the Masai Mara we have the black rhinos and not the white rhinos. Is the black rhinos that are native here? And I had this question about the formation of rainbows that I have researched very quickly and found that when it rains and you get sunlight getting into the raindrops, the sunlight is slowed down and then it bends. And as the light bends, we get a different reflection, or this reflection of that light in the raindrops, which then would form a different wavelength. And those wavelengths come out as colors. And as they come out from the rain, that is the formation of a rainbow. Well, this herd of elephants here, I have been following it for quite some time. And there's one particular one that usually have a very short tail. Not a short tail, I would say a stump on the tail, and another cow that have squint tusks And some 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we gave this particular herd a name. I think it was a viewer. I'm trying to remember her name. I think she was Kathy Baker. And we called this herd Muzuri. I hope I've remembered her name. And I came asking what's perfect, or she said, what's perfect in Swahili? And I said, anything perfect, anything good is Muzuri. And we named this herd Muzuri. Somehow it takes a particular route. It's like a small little migration it takes. And I've been following it when it moves on that route. It's on the low elevation like where they are now, and slowly climbs towards that escarpment as darkness comes in. And I think they spend the night there and they come down to the floor in the morning. So the one that I can't see now is the one that have squint tusks, and it's definitely this one. It could be a bit spread, but she's a member of this. And with those two, I have known this particular herd. And I was saying the other day, I would want to stop somewhere, climb on top of the jeep, and get a count how many elephants are in this herd. So they'll take advantage now of all daylight left before the day shuts or before it gets dark. But even as it gets dark, elephants will continue eating. I want to move on a little bit and see whether I can locate the one with the squint tusks.
Right, thank you very much. It's time for the nocturnal animals to come out. And hippos spends the entire day in the river, just cooling. And once the sun goes down, then this is the opportunity to come up and spread over into the grassland, just grazing until the next morning. Most interesting thing here is the rainbow right on the background. This is so pretty. I couldn't just resist to share this with our distinguished our viewers. This is, I think, one of the best landscape thing to end the show. Our show is coming to a close shortly, and it's good to go on bed, sleep, digesting about this spectacular landscape and the animals around them.
So, welcome back to Ngala. We're very lucky that we just stumbled upon these two lion cubs in the riverbed. So we were just driving along looking at flowering trees and birds and having a good time, and then Gert spotted these two cubs walking out of the riverbed. So we haven't actually been here long enough. I haven't managed to spot the mom, but I'm sure she's not far away. There was another little cub just further off to the right there a few moments ago. Let's just see. I'm just going to move forward a little bit. Let's see. Just tell me, Gert. There. Let's just see. No. Looks like it's just the one for now. Look at that. So this is usually the time when the cats start getting active. It's cooling down. So they'll start moving around. And this cub, I'd say, is probably 4 or 5 months old. So the mom's probably close by. Those black markings behind the ears. Nice little stretch. Anushka, is a very good chance that this could be the cub from the Birmingham Pride. It's about the same size, but I haven't really had a good look, and I can't see any adults yet, like I mentioned. But we'll loop around just now and see if we can see if there are any more lions on the other side. But the Birmingham Pride, for the last 2 days, we've actually, well, we think they haven't been on the property. We haven't seen any tracks crossing back. They went off to the east. Oh, there's the other one. So we actually thought that they were off the property, but this could potentially, this is them. Yes, so the second one that just got up, you can see slightly lighter, and there's also a little white patch on the tip of the tail. That's the young male. So the one we were watching first was the young female. So these are, Anushka, these are the 2 young Birmingham cubs. Good spot. All right, we're going to loop around, see if we can get a better view on the other side.
Wow, beautiful. You know, we have left our princess, Talamba. She was still mobile with a few cows following in there. So on our way out, it's an amazing thing here. You know, I thought it was just a piece of stump, gray stump, whatever it was. Until we stopped, we found an owl on the ground. A gill owl, right on the ground. It looks like sleep. Close her, which means shortly giving a tip.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, apologies for that technical hitch. You know, we're coming to you from the African bushes, and once in a while, such things will happen. But luckily here, I didn't move 1 meter. I've been enjoying some 2 youngsters here, and I guess the bulls sizing each other. Can I just hear them wrestling using their tusks? If you listen carefully, you can hear the knocks of the tusk on each other. They're trying to wrestle each other. I wouldn't call this a fight. They're just playful. But this is what turns out to be a fight as they grow older. The same herd I had before of elephants that we call Missouri. I remember we are coming to you live from different locations of Africa, and I am in the Masai Mara. And should you have any questions or comments, please send them through #WildEarth. On Twitter, I will be happy to answer your questions in real time. Or just acknowledge your great comments, like when you had that beautiful rainbow with some 3 male elephants. It's a bigger herd here. I hope you can hear that. The only challenge is when if a tusk could enter one of the eyes, as it has happened occasionally when they're playing. And that could be detrimental, blinding an elephant and being left with one eye. But you can tell it's not a fight per se from their body language. Little push and shove here, then feed. The serious fights of elephants are really big. Different sizes, but sometimes when they fight, the size doesn't count. When a fight is involved, you'll get the matriarchs in herds like this. When the boys are big enough to leave the herd, I think they are given the message very clearly in black and white. A little push will happen when they don't leave the herd. Just watch and team carefully. You're going to walk slowly, one step after the other down. Because I think elephants are the only animals that will not jump. Let's look at the other one too. Oops. They've gotten out to an open ground. If there were antelopes, it could be just one hop, step, and jump across there. But elephants may not be able to do that. They have just to take their strides slowly, slowly. He's showing us truly he's a boy. Crossing the road, going to the other side. We've got two also on the other side that are also going for each other. I always say it's more of a play than actually a fight. Careful, don't hurt each other. Do all what you have to do, but watch your eyeballs. Is that submission? Yes, I'll guess so. And one comes in. This has to stop now. I'm not sure that's a senior member in the herd who is putting a bit of discipline in the boys. I don't want this to happen again. But we have always seen, can hear all the rumbling going on there, maybe a bit of disagreement. They've all crowded together. And I'm sure there's a bit of talking going on. Are you being chased out? Well, that has been quite entertaining, and I will be moving on, searching for different animals.
So we managed to get a slightly better view of them, although they're still obscured by these reeds. At least we can get both in the shot now. And we've tried to look to see if their mother's around, but it seems like they're actually alone. That means we're not going to be able to sit with them for too long, seeing as they're still very young, and we don't want to attract any attention to them. Being very playful, they were just wrestling each other a few minutes ago, watching us very closely, and hopefully Mom returns soon. Look at that. Now you can actually see the color difference I was mentioning a little bit earlier as well. The one on the left, that's the female, the darker one. And then the one that's a little bit lighter in complexion is the male on the right. Both on their backs now. How beautiful are those white chests and bellies. So I really do hope that the pride has hunted something and they'll come fetch them, or just come back to Ngala, hopefully hunt something here and then come fish the cubs. These two are already eating meat, but they're also still drinking milk, so supplementing that with the milk. You can hear all the birds calling in the background. There's a grey go-away calling. Some arrow-marked babblers on the other side.
So when we left off, we were watching, oh, you see that? Sorry. I don't know if anyone noticed that little bit of bone that dropped out of that kudu's mouth. What it was doing, kudus are not carnivores, don't panic viewers. They are herbivores. But like many other animals, they do actually feed on bones sometimes. They lack phosphorus in their diets, and they feed on these bones to actually gain a bit of phosphates and also to gain a little bit of calcium. We have got the most beautiful herd of kudu right now. I mean, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. 9 kudu all walking in a row. See now, do you notice how their heads have all turned off to the right? And how the one suddenly relaxed. They actually saw, or heard rather, probably that thicket, and suddenly stopped just to check what it was. And you'll see they all actually copy each other, and they all turn and look in the same direction. We're going to just stick with these kudu for a little bit and see where they go.
Here is the Drakensberg Mountains. A view from Djuma Game Reserve in the Lowveld. And I'm going to say absolutely nothing and let you all enjoy it. Sassy Cassie, good to hear from you, and you're seeing beautiful sunset, isn't it? The sky is awash with all of these, the most fantastic pastel colors. And you can just see the bright lights of some sort of... Oh no, I think it's a scratch on my monitor. It's not a bright light, excuse me. But you can see the vast landscape in front of us. Okay, I think it's time now to bumble off into the sunset and see.
So we've just come out of the riverbed. We decided to leave those two little cubs, seeing as the mother's not with them. So maybe tomorrow morning, if we're lucky, and the pride crosses back into the property, well, maybe they're here. We just missed their tracks, potentially. But hopefully if they rejoin, then we can view all of them again. But that was a lucky find. Gert actually spotted them. Very good spot. Very, very happy. And we were saying we actually drove this section of the riverbed this morning. So I wonder if they were just hiding in the reeds there when we passed. They were feeling brave this afternoon. So we're just driving on a road that runs parallel to the riverbed now. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the time that the cats start getting more active. So this is a really good area for leopard as well. And yeah, we're on the lookout for that pride as well.
All right, in a couple of minutes, that giraffe will stop behind the bush. He was on a nice... Oh, there we go. Nice one, David. See, the skills of the cameraman come through. Trying to hide from us. Just came across a small group of male giraffe on a nice afternoon stroll. And the light at this point is absolutely sublime. Yes, I talked about. So the bald ossicones, very thick, very straight. Clear indication from the picture at the moment that this is a bull. And his buddies are a couple of hundred meters behind him. And he's on the move. So with the afternoon light, the color of the red soil really stands out in this afternoon glow, and it just gets better and better and better. I think he's going to go to the top of the dune for a better view, eh? So quite nice when he does turn around again. I want everybody to take notice of the coloration behind the ears. Color behind the ears is snow white.
So those kudu carried on walking off right into the open area. It was insane. We counted, I think, 12 kudu. And I have never in my life seen 12 kudu in one little herd. I don't know if any of our viewers have actually seen that many kudu all together. We decided to carry on just through this beautiful drainage line here, which is a perfect area for a leopard. So we thought maybe we might get in luck. You know, this is the territory of a male, and we often see his tracks walking up and down this road as he scent marks. It's quite a prominent road, and often leopards, they like to use prominent roads or prominent game paths where they regularly scent mark. Once you get to know the territories of leopards and their behaviors, you can start sort of predicting the areas that they move around a little bit more frequently than others. So we thought, there's a crested guinea fowl walking across the road up ahead. In fact, if I turn off in this drainage line, we might actually hear them. Don't know if you can hear that now. Just saw the one crossing off to our left. They seem to be all quiet. They actually are a really good indicator of any predators in the area. They've got quite a distinctive alarm call. It sounds sort of like a marching band. So they're a great one to have in the area where you are looking for something like a leopard. This drainage line that we're looking at now, you can see these very dark trees in front of me. They've got a very distinctive bark pattern. If you have a look at that, it's got a very dark sort of color, almost square-like patterns, and that's a tamboti tree. Oh, sorry. That's not a tamboti tree. I was looking just off to the left there. Oh, hold on. There, just on the left, there's the crested guinea fowl. If you pan just to the left, a little bit upright in the corner, and zoom in there, they've actually climbed up into the tree. That was the crashing we heard earlier. They're finding a spot to roost for the evening, and just be wary of any predators in the area. They're a little bit more safe up in the trees where they've got a little bit more room to maneuver to get away from anything. We're going to carry on having a look and see if we find any tracks on this road.
BK and I were not able to tear ourselves away from this view. We've repositioned slightly, but you can still see this gorgeous mountain range, the Drakensberg. The Great Escarpment. Bernice, you're asking about the height of the mountains, and it's funny you should ask. I checked that out fairly recently, and I believe the highest point of the Drakensberg is around 3,500 meters. I think it's like 348 something, and it ranges between 20,000 to 2,000 to 3,500. So it's a very, very high mountain range. And it's said to be about 1,000 kilometers in length, which is absolutely phenomenal, from southwest to northeast. And as always, everyone, it is our pleasure from all the different locations, 6 different locations. It is all of our pleasure to have you on board. Thank you for all of your wonderful comments and questions. And from BK and I, it's good night, and we do hope...
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to a pleasant morning here in South Africa. We're just admiring the views and listening to the bird calls, especially that chin spot batis that's not stopping. And of course the sun is nice and high in the sky, so that means only one thing. It's time for your live safari through the African bush.